Have you ever been annoyed as a leader? Have you? I have. And if you have ever been annoyed as a woman in leadership, or perhaps maybe you are a man in leadership and this has happened, I'm going to share with you that you are not alone. Because there's always this balance that we try to find as leaders. Specifically, we are trying to handle situations when someone annoys us, but we're not trying to lose our cool, so to speak. So in this video, I'm going to share with you what you can do when you are annoyed as a leader so that you can still stay cool like an executive. If this is a video that you are even watching right now, I know that you and I are going to be able to do a lot of wonderful things together, especially as it relates to helping you elevate how you are communicating as a leader. This is a very, very specific topic, and this focuses on communication, which is what I do on my channel. Now, this scenario happens a lot, and I see a lot of my clients, and I personally have dealt with this too, when you are still elevating yourself as an executive, as a leader, but life happens. Emotions come into play, and we try ourselves not to show that we're just mad or annoyed with something, but sometimes it's very difficult to do so. So you want to watch this video to the very end, because I'm going to share with you a couple strategies and share with you what you need to do when you are annoyed as a leader, but you still want to keep your cool like an executive. Now, if you are watching this portion of the video, you are more than likely watching the replay. So I appreciate you so much for being here today and spending a few moments out of your day with me. There's typically a point in time where people will be watching this video from YouTube that are live. Give me just a few moments. I like to interact with everyone and say hello and welcome them to our very, very lively discussion to help you feel a little bit better when you are annoyed as a leader. Bear with me. I'll say hello to everyone and we'll go right into the strategies that we talked about a few moments ago. Now, as I mentioned, there's several things that you can do when you are annoyed. And the best way to really put this together is that being annoyed and handling your emotions under pressure are two different things. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel that talk specifically about how to handle yourself under pressure, what do you say under pressure, how do you manage your emotions under pressure, and all of that. So take some time, look at my live streams, and you'll see a lot of videos that talk about that. However, when you are annoyed, it's just a little bit different. You're not under pressure so much. It's something happened and someone did something to make you upset. So before I go into the strategies to help you stay cool like an executive when you are annoyed as a leader, I want to say hello to everyone. Welcome for being here today. I'm glad you're here. Welcome, Fort people. Hello, hello. Sean Owens, welcome, welcome. Glad you all are here today. And Light Gray Rat, I don't know if I said that correctly. Hopefully I did. But if you want to learn how to really keep your cool when you are annoyed and be cool like an executive, this is the place for you to be. Feel free to ask me any questions as it relates to how you can keep your cool. What has happened to you when you have been annoyed? I'm here to support you on your journey. And if you like this content, then feel free to subscribe. This is a great opportunity for you to learn over 20 years worth of knowledge from someone that has been a C-suite executive, a manager, a director, a public speaker, and an executive coach that will automatically fast track you in your career and make you stand out from all the other leaders out there. This is the place for you to be. All right, so we got a girl who loves God. Hello, welcome, welcome. Glad to see you here. I appreciate you all being here. We have Rose Baby. Hello, Rose Baby. Welcome, welcome. And a girl who loves God. I'm in the 4th grade. Should I be watching this? This is more for adults, I would say. However, there's things that you can pick up on it in your day-to-day conversations, especially as you're interacting with people in your school. So this is something that will help you. You're going to learn a lot of information, and I just appreciate you all for being here. Rose Baby, thank you so much for letting me know where you are and how old you are. Appreciate that. Well, let's get started. So, have any of you ever been annoyed before? Has someone ever annoyed you? Typically, when we are annoyed, and let's say a girl who loves God, okay, I'm gonna go on board, hee. Okay, well, that's all right. This is more of a topic for individuals that are leaders, that are adults, that are trying to elevate in their careers. However, there's always great information you can learn on YouTube. But I appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. Alrighty, so let's go into this. If you are a leader, have you ever been annoyed? Rose Baby says yes, that Rose Baby has been annoyed before. So typically what happens when you are feeling annoyed as a leader, someone has done something that has basically not either met your expectations, or there is something that's happening in your system that you've developed that you just completely don't understand what's the problem. It's not necessarily where you're under pressure, as I mentioned earlier. This is something where you're just simply just annoyed. And so the first thing that I would say as a solid strategy for you to be able to manage this when you are really annoyed as a leader, because as a leader, we process things differently. And everyone is looking at the leader and seeing, what is the leader going to say? What are they going to do? So if you like to know how to keep yourself cool, because this is what leaders do. Leaders are the people that deal with pressure, deal with challenges, and even if they're dealing with them, then this is something that you will need to absolutely be able to master as a leader. So the first strategy I want to say for you is that you have to recognize that there's some things that are out of your control, that are completely out of your control. And you have to identify when someone annoys you or makes you upset, then this is something that can happen. It happens oftentimes. It happens a lot. So you want to identify and really think about, what about this situation that occurred can I control, or what can I not control about this situation? And the things that you can control are typically how you respond to a specific situation. This is a good thing that you can actually control. Sometimes what somebody does, or what someone says, or if they didn't complete what they were supposed to do, then this is what specifically can really frustrate you, right? It can really, really make you upset. So control what you can, and what you can actually control is how you are communicating to other people. So before I go into my next strategy, let me know if you've ever been annoyed, and what did you do specifically when this happened? I want to hear from you to help you go to that next lady in the next level in your journey. All right, so we have, let's see who joined here. 4 from BFDI. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here today. Thank you for sharing that you like to eat oranges. Okay, welcome. Thank you for letting us know that. Let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. Let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. We have Albert McKay. Welcome, welcome, Albert. Glad you're here. And okay, well, I hope you enjoy getting your biscuits and gravy, and I appreciate you stopping by. This is definitely more of an advanced topic, so if you're trying to really elevate yourselves and communicate at a higher level as a leader and stand out from everybody else, then this is the place for you to be. If you are wanting to have small talk and talk about some things that may not necessarily be related professionally, that's okay. It's just I'm trying to really help the leaders that are following my channel and subscribe to my channel. Okay, we have You Are Pink Not White. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're doing well today. Well, I'm sorry that you don't like the way that I look. That's okay. I appreciate you being present here today. I know let's see what else. There's a couple other things that you have to say, and I'm really happy that you're happy in terms of where you are right now. There's a couple comments that were made about, why don't Black women like their hair, etc. That's really not what I'm talking about here on this channel. I appreciate you being here and stopping by and say hello, but I'm actually trying to elevate leaders. So having a discussion about way someone looks and what you don't like is okay. It typically happens, I see a lot of times, in individuals that do not have their own YouTube channel and are not visibly publicly. So I appreciate you being by, but I'm really here to support people that are actually trying to elevate themselves as leaders. So what I want to say in terms of the second strategy that you can do. Now, first strategy we talked about when you're annoyed as a leader is to really think about what is in your control, what is not in your control. And what you can control is how you are communicating to other people. Now, the second strategy that you can do, once you've determined what can you control, what can you not control, is to ask a simple question. So go to the person that annoyed you, or there's something that happened. Then you want to ask them just a very, very, very simple question. And the question would be, what specifically happened to this situation? And just wait for them to respond. Sometimes we may be annoyed as leaders And we just need to know exactly what else someone is experiencing. There could have been a miscommunication. There could have been something happened drastically that people are really, really, really upset about. It could have been a lot of things that happened. So we really don't know as leaders until we actually ask and have a conversation. So this is how you communicate yourself and how you stay cool as an executive, by being that person that doesn't respond out of emotion. You respond just by simply asking a question about, well, what happened in this particular scenario? What happened? I have found that most of the time when individuals are very annoyed, the emotion comes out like immediately. And they say, oh, I'm upset about this. Why did you do this? Why did you do that? But that's not the way you stay cool like an executive. And if you like this information, this is why this is a great opportunity for you to subscribe to the channel. I talk about executive presence. I talk about executive communication, ways to really elevate yourself as a leader all of the time. So if you're trying to go to that next level, specifically as a woman in leadership, that's my target audience that I work with, then feel free to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to get some support in terms of how you're communicating, and perhaps you're communicating in a way that is not allowing you to be promoted or secure job opportunities, then contact me for a strategy session listed in the description below. Now, my channel, I have the main focus of working with women in leadership, but I do have a lot of men in leadership that follow the channel also. And so I appreciate everybody for being here. If you are interested in this topic at all, then I know that you are trying to elevate yourself as a leader, and leadership is important regardless of what gender you are. So I welcome everyone for being here. Now, we talked about what you can say, and you're trying to find out what happened. So let the person just respond back to you and let them tell you what's going on. Sometimes it could be a systems issue. It could be something that happened within your system, in your business that you're managing, or within the company that you're working for. And something just didn't work the way that we'd like for it to work. And that's completely okay. So I want to go into the next thing you need to do. But before I do, let me go to the chat. So I have Lainey26. Welcome, welcome. Lainey is from Waukesha, Washington. Okay, very good. Welcome, welcome. Oh, Wisconsin, actually. WI is Wisconsin. So welcome, glad you're here today. Rose Baby said, I talk to God when someone annoys me. That's fantastic. And talking to God is always something that I highly recommend for many situations, because sometimes you need to develop that inner peace with yourself before you have a conversation with someone. So Rose Baby, I appreciate you so much for bringing something that's very productive to our conversation that relates to the topic that we are talking about. So thank you so much for that. So we talked about 2 strategies you can do so far. So the next strategy, this one is actually very important. When someone annoys you as a leader, as I mentioned, you still want to present yourself as being cool like an executive. So the best way for you to do that is to not react completely out of emotion. Now, what you want to do in this particular case is to make sure that you are being very direct in your communication moving forward. So if you've had this conversation with the individual and you've said, okay, I know something happened that's out of my control. I had a conversation with the person and they explained to me what happened, and it still doesn't make sense. I'm still annoyed. But you want to showcase yourself as a leader, then be very direct, meaning that the less that you say will actually help you in these situations when you are feeling very, very annoyed. Why? Because sometimes when we're really annoyed, emotionally, we're thinking one aspect and what we want to say, and then after that, we get really, really, really frustrated and we start talking about things that may decrease our executive presence, so to speak. And you don't necessarily want to do that. What you can do is just limit what you say, still be polite, still be nice, but you don't have to say what you are trying to say all the time. Just be quiet. Just be in your own bubble, I would say, because you've already been annoyed, and it could be a situation where someone continues to do something that is not working for you or that is annoying you, that will just set you off. And then you'll say something that will lower your executive presence, and you will not keep your cool like an executive. So if you're watching this channel, this is what I focus on in terms of how to help you really articulate yourself and communicate in a way that showcases that you are at a higher level than your peers. So you just want to be kind of somewhat quiet. Be direct, be polite. Please thank you, excuse me. Always manners is very important when you're in situations like that. But you don't have to really say too much. And your team needs to understand if there's something that annoyed you, then identify what it was, and then definitely make sure you articulate what is supposed to work in this system. Why did this not work? Let's work on a strategy so that we can make sure that this doesn't happen again, and etc. So being very direct in your communication is really important. And then my final strategy for you is to truly observe what's going on with your team. Maybe there's a rough day and people are not acting in character because they're really stressed out by something else. Or perhaps there may be just something going on with a client or a customer that no one could have ever thought about or potentially foresaw that this was an issue. This happens. So just observe, and see if this truly is an issue. And if it is, you need to take a mental note of it. And if you are particularly working in a setting where maybe you're working in a leadership role, you're a woman in leadership, you have something that's going on, there's some passive aggressive behavior happening, you're getting annoyed. Well, what happens to a lot of my clients is that they get to a point in their career, and I've been there also, where they're really annoyed by what's going on, and they decide that they want to transition to another position. And oftentimes they do this when they have had the opportunity to be annoyed many, many times, unfortunately. And then they start to observe, is this maybe just a bad day? Maybe a rough day for everyone? Or is this really what is going on in this organization that I'm working for? And sometimes this happens in this way where you start to notice a trend, and first you're thinking, this is probably not something I should worry about. This is the annoyed part. Maybe have a conversation about it. But then you start seeing this happen over and over and over and over and over again. And then you say, wait a second, this is annoying me way too much. I've talked about it. Something is wrong and it's not improving. That's when people normally start looking around for other opportunities. So just keep that in mind. Observation is one of the most important skills that you can start to develop as you are trying to enhance your executive presence as a leader, as a woman in leadership, because this skill is something that people oftentimes overlook when they're trying to figure out what's going on. What you need to do is just use all of your resources. And the first one is observation. Observe what's going on with people. How are they responding? How are they acting? And it tells you a lot about, will this situation actually resolve itself? And this hopefully will never ever happen again. Or is this a systemic issue in this organization or this business that I really need to pay attention to and perhaps look for other options? So I appreciate you all for being here today and being present. I appreciate everyone for being here and stopping by. I know if you clicked on this video that you're trying to elevate yourself in some way, shape, or form as a leader. And I appreciate you all for bringing a very productive discussion, even for some of the comments that didn't quite really go with what we're talking about and we're somewhat personal. That's okay, because this is what executive communication is about. You have to be able to manage people and have a conversation, even when someone's saying something complimentary or when someone's saying something that is a bit not nice. And I had a couple of those comments today, but nonetheless, this is how you manage yourself as a leader. You still be polite, you address the issue, but then you say clearly, this is exactly what we're talking about here, and what you're trying to allude to or trying to say to make someone upset is not going to do it. This is the best way I can show you in terms of how to say cool as an executive. For those of you who are looking at the chat or are here live, then you can see what comments were actually being made. So you know exactly what was being said, but if not, don't worry about it. You didn't really miss anything too much. Ultimately, I'm here to support you all as leaders, not people that are just having a bad day. So we talked about a couple of things. We talked about if you are annoyed as a leader, say this. These are some strategies you want to do when you are annoyed as a leader. And so for those of you who just joined, I'm going to give you a brief summary of what we talked about. If you want to learn more, then check out the replay when you have a moment. So the first strategy I want to share with you, if you are annoyed as a leader and you want to stay cool like an executive, this is what you need to do. First, you need to understand and realize what is in your control and what is not in your control. This is very, very important for you to know how to respond. Majority of the time, what's in your control is you. how you respond to a situation when you are annoyed. Second is have a conversation. Ask a question. What happened to this particular situation that made you annoyed? Was there something going on with the client? What happened to the order, or what occurred? So find out what happened and then just listen, because you may learn a lot more information than you think that will give you some more clarity in terms of why this situation happened to make you feel annoyed. As I mentioned, we're trying to keep you cool as an executive. So the way you do it is by being very inquisitive and finding out what happened. The third strategy I shared with you is that after you are annoyed, be very direct in your communication. Because when you are annoyed, what you say can come across as you being annoyed. And you don't want to do that if you're trying to showcase yourself as an executive and keep your executive presence very, very high. You don't want to do that. So the best thing for you to do is be very direct in your communication and limit what you say. You don't have to say too much. You can just keep your comments very short and just be in your own bubble. And finally, I talked to you about observing. Observing, is this a trend? Is this something that's happening consistently? Is this something that you need to really pay a very close attention to, or is this something that happened on an off day? You have to observe so you can make the best decision for you in terms of what you need to do when these situations come up that are annoying you as a leader. Because if you do these steps that I'm sharing with you, you will present yourself as that person who is cool like an executive, even though you are very annoyed. Now, I mentioned in the beginning of the video, handling yourself under pressure, handling your emotions under pressure, what to say under pressure is a bit different than being annoyed. Now, if you want to receive some support on that and learn a bit more, then feel free to check out my lives. I have several live streams that talk about handling your emotions under pressure, what to do under pressure, how you say it under pressure, etc. So check out the live streams. And for those of you who are new to me, I go live Tuesday through Friday, and I'm here to provide you with some expert insights, over 20 years worth of knowledge as a C-suite executive, a manager, a director, a public speaker, and an executive coach to really help you go on your journey to the next level. So if you have any topics specifically as it relates to being a leader and you're trying to elevate yourself, or maybe you have a challenge that you've experienced as a leader, then let me know in the comments below and I will do a video just for you and provide you with a shout out on the video as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all in the next video, and I will present another live strategy to help you go to that next level and your communication skills. Have a great day. Bye for now.